Hello, and welcome to my series that I'm going to have on the presidential candidate. Anyway, my presidential candidate profile series. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take an objective look, intermingled with some opinions, on the proposed candidates coming up to our 2012 presidential election. Throughout all this, as promised, I'm not going to share who I'm particularly going to be voting for personally. So you know a little something about me. Currently, I am a registered Republican. However, over the last 10 years, the fiscal liberalism and rhinos of the Republican Party, that is RINO, Republican in name only, have very much left a bad taste in my mouth for the Republican Party. And, the fact that a Republican was in office, that the current president goes on and on and on about how it's the fault of their policy, yet when he took office, he has the same Secretary of Treasury, the same Chairman of the Federal Reserve, so many of the same things continued on with the Democrat in office. The same guy that complains about fiscal policy changed actually very little of the staffing. So anyway, my time in the Republican Party is getting kind of short. I did have quite a bit of hope with the Tea Party. Now, I wasn't a particular Tea Partier, and I always looked on them with a little bit of dubious suspect, which I suppose it's a shame because that movement seems to have kind of petered out a little bit. But they put some very good freshman congressmen and congresspeople in the midterm election, which I was very impressed with. The ones that took a vow to not do anything that literally raised taxes. I thought that was pretty awesome. Not that taxes don't need to be raised or do need to be raised or whatever. That's another debate and a tangent from what we're talking about. So within this introduction, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the incumbent, that is President Barack Obama. And I would like to just sort of give you the way that I see it with his potential as a presidential candidate. Now, for starters, I think we could all use going over to the Constitution and see what the president is actually supposed to be doing, and go from there. But in my opinion, when Obama took office, he had under him an entirely Democrat majority of the House of Representatives and the Senate, or close enough to it to where they could pretty much pass any sort of thing that they wanted to. And their first item on the agenda was going to be rampant healthcare reform. Now, so let me get this straight. We are in a economic mortgage crisis. We have a very, seem to be, and in my opinion, weak economy, and their concern is healthcare. And they bring up this 1,200-page behemoth, and the whole thing's a mess. They do all these town hall meetings. Nobody likes it in the town hall meetings, and it goes ahead and gets ramrodded through anyway. And the whole thing, in my opinion, has been a weak-ass mess. Now, the other thing, Obama had programs on cash for clunkers. Now, I'm in the automotive business, and we saw a few short-term results from that. And you know what, though? It's basically a continued stimulus. The idea is that the government, and this seems to be the current administration's policy, if they spend a good chunk of money, then it will somehow kickstart the economy. And all of a sudden, this chunk of money that the government spends stimulates everything else. and all of these other benefits will stem from it, such as cash for clunkers. The government gives all these subsidies, and if the dealership did everything right and the car qualified, the dealership could take a loss and get compensated by the government, our tax dollars. The current administration is very free to spend. Also, nothing has been done by the current administration to really genuinely move the Congress to a more fiscally responsible position. Even Clinton did a good job with that. Okay, so that's not a Republican or a Democrat thing. All right, and there are many economists that say, listen, in a recession is the worst time to talk about austerity, and on the one hand you have those more free running intervention economists that say no, this is the time when they need to prime the well, push and pull the money from the government by just raising their hands in order to re-kickstart the economy. And then on the other side of the fence, you have the people that believe that a market needs to correct itself. That way, whatever gets produced and whatever gets consumed is genuine. It's genuinely what people are looking for, and the market itself is then on solid footing, not any sort of artificial means. Because a market knows when the means of its production are artificial. That's, again, another subject for another video. Okay, so we went through the healthcare thing, cash for clunkers, and now here is the big thing that rubs my rhubarb big time. And when I heard the news, now I'm a General Motors employee, when I heard the too big to fail speech, my heart sank. Everything that I had learned, I'm going to be 36 years old this year, and everything in my whole entire life has been centered around the economics of anti-monopoly and the dangers of monopoly, the dangers of socialism, the dangers of oligopolies, things like that. And then all of a sudden I hear this word coming out of the nation's government saying these entities require our tax dollars because they will fail, and they are too big for us to allow them to fail. I don't know. Whatever that seems to be, in my opinion, that is not American. And again, another tangent for a possible future video. We can talk about what makes that so un-American, okay? I don't know. Now, I guess I'll just leave that. Now, Obama's foreign policy. This is a guy, when he came in, and one of his campaign promise was that he was going to shut down Gitmo, which he hasn't done. And it isn't hard for him. And he was going to do this, and he was going to do that. The way that he managed to get us out of Iraq was to turn it over to his State Department. And you can research this. Take a look at the number of civilian contractors and State Department people, and take a look at the size of the United States Embassy over in Iraq. And you'll see, with the exception of not having visible gun trucks going down the road, very little has changed over there. So there you go. There's a quick and dirty Obama profile and the introduction to this series, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And anything that anybody would like to add or take away, comments are open, and video responses are preferred. So we'll see y'all later.